booth is the crew chief, Doug Eddings, calling the balls and strikes tonight. First pitch from Percy is in for strike one. And it's time to play baseball here at Rogers Center. We're glad that you've joined us. I'm Jamie Campbell with Rance Mullenix and Sam Cosentino. Ian Kinsler hitting .453. Swings at the next offering and falls behind 0-2. Percy was shaky on Friday against the A's, going just 3 2/3. Pressure is on here to go deep into this ball game. A ball and 2 strikes on Kinsler, who hit the home run last night in the 7th inning off of Roy Halladay to help propel the Rangers to a victory in the opener. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and it's fouled back. So far, Rance, it's been a successful year for the Jays as a team, going 10-5. Do you think that Percy is feeling the pressure of having a good outing tonight?
Probably a little bit, but he has to set that aside and not allow himself to feel pressure so that he stays focused on the job at hand. If he's out there tonight concerned about, or thinking along the lines of, if I don't perform well tonight, then maybe they're going to take me out of the rotation, maybe even be sent down to AAA, then it's going to be a distraction.
The focus right now is on Kinsler. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's Percy into the windup, and it's laced foul.
And it will be interesting to see the approach that the Texas Rangers take against Percy tonight. They know his track record and that he has trouble with control. Last night against Roy Halladay, they came out first pitch swinging up and down through the lineup. So it'd be interesting to see if they try to be a little more patient this evening.
Swung on and missed. So Kinsler is a strikeout victim, and that's a positive way to begin the game for Percy.
Looks like a breaking ball at some late movement, and looks like Kinsler swung right over the top of it.
Strikeouts are certainly nothing new to Percy. He had 10 of them in his second outing, April the 12th in Cleveland. Now he faces Omar Vizquel. What a career this man has had. For the most part, he is with this team to tutor their young shortstop, Elvis Andrus. But Vizquel, defensively, one of the greatest to ever play. 11 Gold Gloves, second most ever for a shortstop behind Ozzie Smith. There's the rookie watching the master at the plate. Ooh, and that just misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Omar is, I'd have to think long and hard, but he may be the only player still playing that I played against.
I was just going to say that.
I remember when he was a rookie with the Seattle Mariners.
This would be his 21st year in Major League Baseball. Seattle, Cleveland, San Francisco, and now Texas. 2-2. And he hits it in the air to center field. There's Vernon Wells. Vizquel is gone. Next up for the Rangers is Michael Young, and he's hitting third tonight in place of Josh Hamilton, who gets the night off with a left-hander on the hill. Young has 3 home runs this year and 118 in his career. In fact, the 118th came on Sunday in walk-off style. It's the first time he's ever hit one to win a game in the bottom of the 9th or extra innings. 1 ball and no strikes. I believe the active player with the most home runs without a walk-off home run is the Yankees' Mark Teixeira, who has well over 200. Good numbers against the Jays, a .330 average. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes after Young slaps that foul. So here's Percy with 2 gone and 2 strikes on the number 3 hitter, braced for a quick first if he can get the man at the plate. And there's a good sign. 15 pitches, 4 of the balls, 11 for strikes.
Off to a good start. Hopefully this is something that he can build on and carry throughout the course of tonight's ball game.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3 and a 1-2-3 first for David Percy. Good start for the young left-hander. We'll see the Blue Jays hit when we continue. Scudero, Hill, and Rios due for Toronto. Be led by the 2 men at the top of the order, Marco Scudero and Aaron Hill. Here is the lineup that Cito Gaston often designs to face left-handers, with Kevin Millar replacing Lyle Overbay at first. Jose Bautista takes over for young Travis Snyder in left, and Adam Lind remains the everyday designated hitter. Here is the left-hander they face tonight, Matt Harrison, a 23-year-old from Durham, North Carolina. Facing the shortstop, Marco Scudero. This is all very new for the Blue Jays. Only Kevin Millar in the starting 9 has ever faced the left-hander Harrison, who runs the pitch inside on Scudero. Marco works the count to 2-2.
Matt Harrison in the past has had some success at the major league level, but he's kind of gone backwards, and much like David Percy, control has been the big issue.
A major issue. Tom Grieve, who does the analysis for the Rangers television broadcast, was saying, like Percy, he's got great stuff. It's just throwing strikes has become a problem.
And he jumped out in front of Scudero, quickly 0-2, and is now all the way back to a 3-2 full count.
Here's the payoff inside for ball 4. What an at-bat for Scudero, who goes from 0-2 to a walk issued.
And you can see the numbers at 8.44 ERA in 2 starts. And look at the walks. 9 walks and 10 2/3, almost 1 per inning. And at the major league level, or any level really for that matter, you're just not going to have success with wildness.
Scudero now with 14 walks in the early going as Aaron Hill lines it to center field, and coming in is Bird to make the catch. Good solid contact.
Well, Aaron Hill is really seeing the ball well right now, and he doesn't waste any time jumping all over this fastball. Hits it right on the nose, but an excellent read by Bird on a tough chance. The ball hit on the line pretty much right at you sometimes is a very difficult read for an outfielder, but nice play by Marlon Bird.
Bird taking over tonight for Josh Hamilton, who was running all over the place in center field last night. Ball one now to Alex Rios. Alex has garnered a heap of criticism for his slow start, hitting just .206. His average against left-handed pitching just .167. Oddly enough, his best at bats come when there are runners in scoring position. He's hitting .313 in that respect. Two balls and no strikes. Scudero a short lead at first. And the ball has popped up over near the Rangers dugout. Chris Davis is there. And Rios is gone.
Defensively for the Rangers this evening, Jones, Bird, and Cruz in the outfield. Michael Young at third base. The perennial Gold Glover Omar Vizquel at short, Kinsler at second, Davis at first, Saltalamacchia behind the plate, and Matt Harrison doing the pitching.
Harrison will now face Vernon Wells. Ball one. Wells has 179 career home runs. The next one pushes him past Jesse Barfield into sole possession of fourth place. 1-1. Harrison was acquired from the Atlanta Braves in July of 2007 in the Mark Teixeira deal, along with his battery mate tonight, catcher Jared Saltalamacchia, as he checks Scudero over at first base. The Rangers also picked up a young man who has since become their #1 prospect, a right-handed pitcher by the name of Neftali Feliz. One pitch on the ground, backhanded by Young. One hops it to first and gets his old friend Vernon. One left in the first, no score after an inning of play. We welcome you inside Rogers Center here in Toronto. Game 2 between the Rangers And the Blue Jays. Andrew Jones in the second inning leads off for Texas. Hank Blaylock and Marlon Byrd come to the plate as well. They'll be facing left-hander David Percy. Jones is in his first year with the Rangers. He signed a minor league deal with Texas after he was given his unconditional release in January by the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll call that one a failed experiment. Jones, before last season, signed a massive multi-million-dollar 2-year deal with the Dodgers and produced exactly 3 home runs. Now, mind you, he spent 3 different trips to the disabled list, but by the end of the year, he hit 158 and drove in 14. 1-2. Now 2-2. I'll go out on a limb and say the Dodgers didn't get their money's worth, Rance.
I think that's a pretty good. I think that's a sure bet.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
I thought the last couple of years that Andrew Jones played in Atlanta, he had primarily become a dead pull hitter, tried to lift and hit the ball out of the ballpark, and his overall numbers began to decline. And then he went to L.A. last year, got off to a real bad start. And I would have to say, I don't think he was in the best of shape. He was playing center field at about 250 pounds. And I think that's just a little, that's carrying just a little too much.
Hits it in the air into left center field. And Bautista awaits the arrival. My, that ball hung up there a while. So Percy has retired the first 4.
Sometimes, you know, as a player, you have to recommit yourself to getting back to where it was before things began to go downhill for you a little bit. Because Andrew Jones, most certainly one of the best all-around center fielders in the game for many years.
I guess, though, when you are making $36 million over 2 years, you commit yourself to the buffet table. At least you can.
Well, maybe you lose your edge. You don't focus, don't work as hard. I mean, there's probably any number of reasons, but I think number one, it started with he started trying to hit everything out of the ballpark just based upon my observation.
2 balls, no strikes to Hank Blaylock, who pops it up. Scudero backs off his position and puts away Blaylock.
And so far tonight, so good for David Percy. He's done a good job of pounding the strike zone. He's been aggressive, trusting his stuff.
The inevitable questions followed Percy's last start. That was Friday against Oakland. How long does he stay in the rotation? And Cito Gaston said he'll get his next start. And a few more beyond that, too. He jams Byrd, who fouls it back. They're not really thinking about sending him down anytime soon because, I mean, here's a guy, let's be honest, in his second start, he struck out 10 Indians over 4 2/3. So there is a lot of gift in that left arm.
No one doubts his stuff.
The 0-1 to Byrd. And it's a ball and a strike. Byrd was 2 for 4 last night and likely robbed of a third hit by Aaron Hill in the 8th inning. Percy deals on the ground. A 2-hopper to Scudero. He gathers the ball, throws out Byrd. Another 1-2-3 inning for Percy. So off we go to the bottom of the second. Adam Lynn leads off for Toronto.
Needs to trust his stuff, and by that, again, it just pound that strike zone and challenge the hitters.
Bottom of 2, Lynn, Roland, and Millar coming up for the Blue Jays. Rance, what has changed in Adam Lynn from the young man who was in AAA at this point last year?
Confidence is probably one. I think the fact that Gene Tennis and Cito Gaston have really helped him mentally. And I know Cito told me yesterday in a conversation that Adam Lynn has as good approach at the plate as anybody on the Jays ball club.
He really has an idea of what he's looking for.
He really has an idea of what he's looking for, and he has the discipline to stay with it until circumstances dictate he needs to change.
Lefty on lefty here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Adam currently riding a 7-game hit streak. He had 3 home runs in his first 5 games this year, but has not hit one since the 10th of April. Harrison deals now. Tries to run it inside. Matt Harrison last year in 15 starts went 9-3 for the Rangers. Pitched himself a complete game 5-hitter, shutting out Oakland on September the 12th.
And you would wonder why all of a sudden would Matt Harrison start to have problems. And I think once in a while, especially with a younger pitcher, you go out, you have an outing or two where you get knocked around a little bit and you start to nibble and try to be too fine, and then you're constantly behind in a count. And big league hitters, if you're constantly behind in the count, they're going to make you pay the price.
His first start this year in Detroit, he went 5 2/3, gave up 4 earned runs. His next start against Kansas City, gave up 6 earned runs over 5 innings. 3-2 on Lind, and a high chopper back to the pitcher. Lind is gone, 1-3. Well, believe it or not, the All-Star ballots are out and ready to be marked. The All-Star game this year in St. Louis, July the 14th. You can now vote for your favorite Blue Jay players by casting your vote at BlueJays.com. Remember, fans are allowed to vote a maximum of 25 times per email address, so get onto the website, vote early, and vote often. Scott Rowland's been to the All-Star game before. It's funny, when Cito Gaston talked with us before the game, he said when he was managing or about to manage in the All-Star game, as Rowland rips one on the ground to Young, and Young comes up firing. Rowland's gone 5-3. Cito was saying that when he knew he'd be managing the All-Star game in the early part of the year, a lot of players would come up to him and be conversational and polite. How are you doing? Nice to see you, because he knew they had All-Star bonuses.
Outstanding defense from Michael Young, a one-hop line drive to his left.
Kevin Millar now.
Just seems as if no matter where the Texas Rangers ask Michael Young to play, he does an outstanding job.
He has certainly looked good defensively in the first 2 games here at Rogers Center. A former member of this Blue Jays organization. 2 balls, no strikes on Millar, the only player in the Blue Jays starting 9 prior to tonight who had faced Harrison, and the experience pays off there. He's got a base hit to center field. That is the night's first base hit.
Fastball that's not a bad spot, but Kevin Millar goes down and drives it into center field. You know, Rod Barajas last night in that 9th inning with the bases loaded lined out to third base, just hit a rocket. And in a conversation with Aaron Hill today, he was telling me that probably no one on the team is hitting the ball more consistently hard than Rod Barajas. It's just that his luck has just been terrible. He just can't buy a break.
He laced that ball, but he laced it right at Young. If it's 3 or 4 feet higher, the Blue Jays likely win that ball game. But that's baseball. 1-1 on Barajas, who will either catch tomorrow or Friday, but not both games. Cito Gaston has promised Raul Chavez a start in the next 2 days, as Barajas bombs the ball to left field, and you can kiss that one goodbye. That might make up for it. A 2-run home run. Number 1 on the year for Barajas. Rance, you had to know he was going to connect at some point.
And it looked like a breaking ball or a changeup that was up, and this one they can't catch unless you've bought a ticket. And maybe that'll really turn things around for Rod Barajas.
The batter now is Jose Bautista, the left fielder, who last started on Saturday against the Oakland A's. In 3 starts this year, that's the 3rd home run Harrison has allowed. He gave up 2 in his last start to both Mark Teahen and Coco Crisp of the Royals. One ball, 2 strikes on Bautista. Let's get a quick word from Sam Cosentino.
Well, guys, Cito Gaston was asked if this was going to be a platoon with Bautista and Millar in the lineup. But if you remember back to Sunday against left-hander Dallas Braden, both Travis Snyder and Overbay in the lineup against the left-hander. So it's not a strict platoon, but he does want to give his right-handed bench guys some at-bats, especially with the number of left-handed pitching the Blue Jays have faced to this point in the season.
Thank you, Sam. 3-2 now. Here's Harrison dealing. And it's lined towards center field. Cruz on the run. It gets past him and rolls up against the wall. Bautista heads for second, and he's got a 2-out double. Harrison was able to get the first 2 in the inning, but since then a single, a home run, and now a double to Bautista.
And again, he gets ahead in the count of Bautista and then works it all the way back full, has to give in a little bit. And Bautista drives this ball very hard into right center. And Cruz, with an excellent jump, almost able to catch up with it.
Sam alluded to this. Cito Gaston likes a consistent lineup. He likes allowing players to know that in certain situations they'll be starting the ball game. Was he that way when you were playing for him?
Yes, he was. You definitely knew what your job expectation was. You knew when you were going to be in the lineup. You knew when you were going to be pinch hitting. So it makes it very easy for you as a player to stay prepared.
Which is why, as much as someone like Alex Rios might be struggling, he comes to the park today and still sees his name scratched into the 3 hole. Bautista at second. Marco Scutaro now gets a second chance at Matt Harrison. Scutaro fell behind 0-2 his first time up and then drew a walk. His 14th of the year. Starting the day, Jason Bay led the American League with 15 free passes. The North Carolina native leaning in, looking for a message from Saltalamacchia. Here's the 1-1, and it's in for strike 2. 2-2 now on Scutaro.
Good pitch from Matt Harrison. He tried to get a fastball in, made sure that if he missed his spot, he missed just off the plate inside. But that will open up the outer third, or allow him, if he chooses to do so, to go back to something off speed. And you can see, again, he's just having trouble finishing hitters off.
He's facing a guy with good plate discipline.
Very good. And now he's back to a 3-2 count, and you've got a guy on deck that is hot.
All four. Scutaro's done it again. Marco draws his 15th walk of the year, second in this ball game, and keeps the line moving here in the second inning. As Ron Washington takes notes, David Percy grateful for 2 runs to this point. He'd like to see more. Aaron Hill, first time up, scorched the ball to center field. And he fouls that one back. That walk by Scutaro pushes his on base percentage up now to .432. Impressive numbers for a leadoff man.
He's not your typical leadoff hitter in the sense that he's not a big base stealer. You know, probably average speed, maybe slightly above average speed, but you know, the key is that on base percentage.
0-2 on Aaron Hill. He grounds the ball to third. Young goes to second for the force, and that's the inning. The Blue Jays, though, take the early lead on Texas. It's Rod Barajas hitting his first home run of the year. And after 2, it's Toronto 2, and Texas no score. Make-A-Wish Foundation. Wish kids become special guests of the Jays, and they attend batting practice on the field before the game. I got to meet a few of them today. Great kids, and they're here to enjoy the ball game. Keep this in mind. $5 from every ticket sold in the Make-A-Wish section is donated right back to Make-A-Wish Toronto and Central Ontario. So if you'd like a little more information on supporting this worthy charity, please go to bluejays.com/community. Jamie Campbell is with Brant Mullenix tonight. Sam Cosentino is with us as well. 6 up and 6 down to this point for David Percy, who faces the 7, 8, and 9 hitters here in the third. First up, Nelson Cruz, who has some power in that bat. He proved it a night ago with his 6th home run of the year. Doug Eddings grabs another baseball for David Percy. We'd like to wish Kerwin Danley our best. There's a chance Mr. Danley's watching this game in his hospital room here in Toronto. It was a sad sight last night watching Hank Blaylock's bat come around and hurt Mr. Danley. He was out for a time and carted off on a stretcher as Cruz drives the ball to center field. Quickly over to get it is Rios to hold Cruz to a single. But Kerwin, if you're watching, our best goes out to you, and our hopes are for a quick recovery.
Cruz kind of inside outs the baseball into right center. Nice job by Alex Rios to cut the ball off and hold Cruz to just a base hit and keep the double play in order.
That brings up Chris Davis. Nobody has more strikeouts on the Texas Rangers than Davis, 21 of them. He's also got pop in the bat, lifts it to left field. It's over the head of both Bautista and Wells. Cruz is held at third. Davis has doubled, and Texas is in business in the third.
As you mentioned, Jamie, Davis does have power, and he goes down, gets a fastball down and over the plate, drives it to left center, and well, it looked like it hit right at the bottom of the wall. Wells quickly on it, and not going to take any chances with nobody out of running into an out at the plate. Holding Cruz up at third.
Here's trouble then for David Percy as he faces the switch hitter, Jared Saltalamacchia. Nobody out, second and third for the Rangers. In his last outing, the Blue Jays were able to build a 5-1 lead. And here come the Rangers as Saltalamacchia dumps it in center field. Both men come in to score, and the Rangers have quickly tied this game. Shades of Friday against Oakland.
It's a breaking ball that's up just a little bit, and Saltalamacchia didn't hit it hard, got it in on the hands a little bit, but able to dump it into the outfield.
So the Blue Jays are still looking for an out here, and Ian Kinsler is a tough out, hitting .444. The leadoff man for the Rangers is 0 for 1 after striking out.
And the first pitch to Kinsler is the first time tonight it looked to me like David Percy did not throw a pitch with conviction. He's trying to start him with a changeup, and he really tried to guide it and missed well off the plate high and away. And now he's 2-0 to Kinsler.
Cruz singled, Davis doubled, Saltalamacchia singled them both in. He's at first, nobody out. This game all square at 2. Kinsler knocks Barajas' mask off. He can forge a smile. Time for our Fast Fact, which is brought to you by Rogers High-Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. The Jays have turned 19 double plays so far this year. They'd love to get number 20 right now. 2-2 pitch. Up and away. 3-2 on Kinsler.
A 2-2 pitch, big pitch to go 3-2. Now, if the Rangers elect to do so, they can start that runner off of first base, try to stay out of a potential double play.
Swing and a miss. There goes Kinsler for the second time. An important strikeout for David Percy.
Just throws a fastball right by Kinsler. You see right here, he can't catch up with it. And I think the good news here in this inning is the fact that David Percy hasn't walked anybody. The runs that the Rangers have scored, they've earned them. They've hit the ball around a little bit off of him, and he's responded well with a strikeout to Ian Kinsler, or I should say of Ian Kinsler. And again, a chance where you make a quality pitch here, you can get that double play and get out of the inning.
Strike one on Omar Vizquel. And Cito touched on that before the game. You can't fault the young man when he's throwing strikes consistently. Even if they hit them, you still have to throw them. And to this point, as you point out, he hasn't walked anybody. He's 1-1 on Vizquel.
One of the keys for anybody that plays the game of baseball and how much success they're going to experience is how they respond to some adversity. This has been a tough inning so far. So far, so good. He's responded in a positive manner.
Vizquel rips it to left field, and he's got a base hit. Up to second goes Saltalamacchia. And the Rangers have their fourth hit this inning.
See Vizquel bring his hands in just a little bit to get the barrel of the bat to the baseball. If there's anything that maybe David Percy could do right now to kind of take away a little bit of the aggressiveness of this Rangers ball club with the fastball, is maybe mix in a little bit more off speed. Keep them where they have to respect the breaking stuff and the occasional changeup. Right now they've sold out to the fastball.
Ground ball. Scutero to Hill. Hill to Millar. There's that 20th double play. 2 runs, though, for the Rangers in the third. We're tied at 2 in Toronto. Paul Molitor. You have to do some text messaging. Text the word Molly, M-O-L-L-Y, to the short code 707070. And you might win a chance to have a private meeting with Paul Molitor. The winner will be announced on Friday, May the 1st on the Fan 590 morning show here in Toronto with Don Landry and Gord Stellick. Last of the third. And Alex Rios is the batter for Toronto. The Jays and Rangers tied at 2 in the second game of this 3-game series. They'll face off again tomorrow. Kevin Millwood against Scott Richmond. Rios toward left field, and that bounces into the seats. The Jays have won their first 4 series to start the year. It's the first time in club history to begin a season with 4 straight series victories of 3 games or more. They'll need a win tonight if they have a hope of making it 5. One and 2 here.
You know, we've heard a lot about Alex Rios, and he's not getting his hands started in time. A couple of swings in this at bat, he's gotten them started in time, pulled the ball hard foul. It just seems like too often, especially with the fastball, Alex is letting the ball get on him just a little bit too much.
He lifts this one to left field, reaches down for it, in fact, and drops a base hit in left. It looks as if he went after a bad pitch.
It was looked like a pretty good changeup. You see the changeup grip there, and the ball goes down and away from him, but he kept his hands back. He got him started, kept him back in a good position, and is able to drive this ball into left field.
And now Vernon Wells watches that first pitch drop low for ball 1.
And that's a good sign. Alex Rios now has hit a hit in 4 consecutive games. And it's just little things, and you build on that, you get some confidence, and then all of a sudden you take off.
Two and 0 to Vernon, and a ground ball to Vizquel. 6-4-3 double play. The Rangers get one of their own.
Pretty routine, especially for an 11-time Gold Glover.
A man who turns 42 on Thursday, Omar Vizquel. Father Time is catching up, but he is still playing this game at a high level. Strike 1 to Adam Lind, who is 0 for 1. By 2008 standards, the Texas Rangers have a light schedule this month. In fact, the Blue Jays are the only team the Rangers face in all of April that had a winning record last year. After tomorrow's game, they jet off to Baltimore for 4 at Camden Yards to end a 7-game road swing. One ball and 2 strikes now on Lind. The kick, the pitch from Harrison off the plate, 2-2. And Lind gets jammed, popping that one out of play. Harrison in his career is 4-0 against American League East clubs. He's beaten the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Orioles, and the Rays, and now faces Toronto for the first time.
And Matt Harrison seems to have, the last inning was a little rough. He's responded again, much like David Percy, in a positive manner.
Hill sends this one to left center field. Bird and Jones get crossed up to a degree, but Jones takes it for the out. And the third inning is complete, still tied at 2.
Player agent is in attendance behind the Texas Rangers dugout. He is the agent for Ian Kinsler. And so interesting to have Jeff Fry, the last Blue Jay to hit for the cycle, in attendance here tonight, guys.
Great to see, and he had that cycle against the Rangers. Darren Oliver, Kevin Foster among the pitchers on the mound that night for Texas. As this game is deadlocked at 2. Thank you, Sam. That's great to see Fry again. Here's Andrew Jones. And as we well know, last week, Mr. Fry's client, Ian Kinsler, became the 4th Ranger to hit for the cycle, and he did it with 6 hits in a 9-inning game. As David Percy faces Andrew Jones. One and one to Jones. He takes a hack. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jones turns 32 on Thursday, so 2 Rangers have birthdays upcoming this Thursday. Here's a 10-time Gold Glove Award winner in center field with the Atlanta Braves. Percy with the pitch, and a foul tip caught by Bautista, so excuse me, by Barajas. So Jones is gone. A reminder to fans, the Aaron Hill t-shirt giveaway is coming up for the first 5,000 kids 14 and under. It's presented by Nestle and 680 News, Sunday, May the 3rd, with the Orioles in town. Visit your local Rogers Plus location for tickets. The ball is lined to left field. Bautista is there. And now Jones and Blaylock are gone.
Jamie, I do have to say that was the first for me.
What's that?
With that cycle that we started the inning with. That a guy gets a cycle and somebody in street clothes comes out of this nowhere to congratulate him on the field.
Would you have expected anything less from Kelly Gruber? It made sense. He's in the building.
Oh, why not?
Right. You know Kelly.
Yes, I do.
Would you expect anything less?
That's a difficult question to answer. I don't know. Maybe it was just the spur of the moment. He got caught up in the moment and couldn't stand it. Just had to go out and give his congratulations.
Wonderful. Here's Marlon Byrd. 1-1. And David Percy looking for a shutdown inning after giving up a pair of runs in that third inning. 1-1 on Byrd, and well hit into center field. A base hit for Byrd. He's 1 for 2.
Just missed the location by David Percy, trying to get a fastball in, leaves it out of the plate, and Marlon Byrd hits it hard right back through the box into center field. You know, Marlon Byrd is a guy that's kind of an underrated player, but a very good one. Can play all 3 outfield positions, is a good hitter, runs well. And has really kind of resurrected his career in Texas.
So is Nelson Cruz, for that matter. 6 home runs in the early going. He couldn't stick with Milwaukee a few years back, but he's here starting with the Rangers and playing every day.
The last 3 or 4 times that David Percy has attempted to throw a changeup, his elbow's gotten real low and he's kind of pushed it and guided it instead of really trusted and get it out front and really let it go, so you have good arm action and you have some deception with it. And when he throws it correctly, he'll get a little downward movement with that pitch as well.
So if Barajas noticed this, will they shelve that pitch for a while?
More than likely.
Down and in on Cruz. It's now 3-0. And you made this point last night that when you put something in your back pocket because you're not throwing it effectively, it really limits your effectiveness.
It definitely can, but at the same time, if you don't have good feel for it on a given night, why continue to throw it? Because all you're going to do is cost yourself a pitch. You're either going to go ball 1 or 2-0. Typically, they like to throw it oftentimes in a fastball count to just try to get a strike. And if you can't command it, there's no sense pitching yourself into trouble with it.
Here's the 3-1 offering. Off the plate for ball 4. So David Percy has walked his first batter in the game. And we touched on this at the beginning of the ball game. He is a man of extremes.
Yes, he is. You see that start on the 12th in Cleveland. He walked 6 but struck out 10. But a much better ratio so far tonight. He struck out 4 and just walked Nelson Cruz, his first walk allowed in tonight's ball game.
First and second, 2 men on, 2 out. Chris Davis comes back up there. How would you pitch to this guy?
So if I was going to throw him fastballs, I would probably try to keep the ball belt high or above and try to keep the ball middle in. I haven't seen Davis a lot, but he appears to me to have somewhat of an uppercut type swing, not unusual from a left-handed power hitter. We'll try to see if he can handle the hard stuff in, especially at about the belt.
Breaking ball, 1-1. Well, he's certainly shown in the first game last night and here this evening an ability to go to the opposite field. He doubled to left field an inning ago. Picked out a 2-out single to left last night in the 4th, driving in a run against Roy Halladay. And that one almost hits him. We're seeing a whole bunch of breaking balls early on here from Percy.
He hit the fastball his last at bat, so Rod Barajas trying to change things up. But I think if you go fastball here, try to go in hard on his hands.
There you go.
And that's a great spot right there. And if David Percy could repeat this location right here with a fastball, they were trying to go down and away, but accidentally threw it about middle and just about the belt, and you can see he can't catch up with it. Go back there again. But if you felt like you could get a breaking ball close enough to get him to chase, that wouldn't maybe be a bad choice either.
2-2 upstairs, 3-2 now. So Percy's playing with fire here. If he walks Davis, he loads them up for Jared Saltalamacchia, who's driven in 2 runs. Here's the payoff as the runners take off, and it's a swing and a miss. Davis has gone on strikes, and David Percy is able to work out of a jam, leaving 2 on base in the 4th inning. When we come back, bottom half of the inning, Scott Rowland coming to the plate first. Hours at the phone number there, 416-341-1234. BlueJays.com/tickets has more information. The Blue Jays play their last game at home this month tomorrow night here against Texas. Join us at the ballpark. They won't be back after a 7-game road trip until the 1st of May to take on the Baltimore Orioles. Hey, imagine that, an American League East opponent. Here's Scott Rowland. And he grounds it to second. Kinsler makes the easy play, and Rowland is 0 for 2.
Scott Rowland's hit into a little tough luck tonight. He's hit the ball hard twice. He's got nothing to show. 0 for 2. Hit the ball very hard to third baseman's first time up. The last ground ball to Kinsler was hit hard.
Kevin Millar singled in the 2nd inning and was on base when Rod Barajas hit his first home run of the year.
Kevin Millar is another guy that has a good idea of what he wants to do at the plate, and I wouldn't be surprised he's sitting fastball middle in.
Here it is. He drills the ball to left field, and it rolls past Jones. That allows Millar to get to second with a double. So Kevin Millar tonight 2 for 2. And you make a great point, Rance. Clearly he's got an idea of what he's doing.
Yeah, he got himself in a good hitting count, gets a fastball and hits it hard into left center. He's the type of hitter he will look for something to drive, and primarily a dead pull hitter. But if that's your strength, then play to it. And Kevin Millar does a very good job of playing to his strength.
Back comes Barajas now. And he sends this one well out of play behind home plate. Barajas tagged one to left field with Millar on first in the second inning, his first of the year, and gave the Blue Jays a short-lived 2-0 lead. Texas came right back in their half of the third to tie it on 4 base hits. And this ball is up high, deep, and gone left field. And yet another one for Rod Barajas. Wow, what a night.
He really gets under it and skies it, but he gets the barrel on it. It had that special sound to it. And the ball just keeps carrying. And finally tonight, Rod Barajas says, well, I've been hitting into tough luck. I'll just hit a couple to where they can't catch it.
2 totally different home runs, too. The first one was more of a line shot into the bleachers. That one was the high arcing style that falls into the bullpen as Jose Bautista fouls this one away. For Barajas, that's the 6th multi-homer game of his career. He last did it May 17th last year with 2 in Philadelphia. One of those a grand slam. What's the hang time on this one, Rance?
I'm not sure, but it was up there. I think it brought rain with it when it came down.
And this ball lays to left field. A mirror image of what transpired in the second inning here. It was base hit Millar, home run Barajas, base hit Bautista, and that's exactly what's gone on here in the fourth.
No doubt this is a Jays ball club that has a lot of depth, a lot more depth than it's had over the last couple of 3 years. Got a number of players you can run into the lineup that can contribute.
Back to the top of the order. The bottom third of the order is now a collective 6 for 6 with 4 RBIs. Nice to see. Here's Scudero. Strike 1. Strike 2. As we've learned, 0-2 really means nothing to Scudero. He was behind in the count the first time up, behind in the count the second time up. He has drawn 2 walks so far this evening. Bautista with a short lead at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Scudero. Let's go downstairs again and find Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, we've been talking about some of the extra players drawing into the lineup today. Marco Scudero and Aaron Hill at the top of the lineup playing so well right now that John McDonald has yet to start a game. Cito Gaston was asked today when that is going to happen. He said, the way these 2 guys are swinging the bat right now, we're just going to let them be. But should one of them drop off, that would be the time you'd expect to see McDonald in a lineup.
Strike 3 called then on Scudero. So that's out number 2, and Sam makes the great point. Hard to find playing time for John McDonald the way both Scudero and Hill are playing.
Look at the last pitch. Marco Scudero clearly thought this pitch was a little high. It's awfully close.
Back comes Aaron Hill now. Does Aaron have the type of swing that lends itself to slumps?
Not really, because he's pretty much a short, compact swing. And of course, anyone can go into a slump, but I don't think it's one that would lead to a prolonged slump. And I think he's really starting to mature as a hitter. I think he's beginning. He really, every day, he understands more what he needs to do to be successful, how to make adjustments. He is a very good hitter.
It's a ground ball up the middle, a base hit for Hill. Bautista turns for third. Good piece of base running by Bautista. So Aaron has his first hit of the night.
And he uses the entire field. This one right back up the middle. And good aggressive base running here by Bautista. No hesitation. And the third, no problem.
Those are the kind of things you don't read about in a box score, but the kind of things that would put a smile on the manager's face.
Yes, indeed. Love to see players be aggressive. You know, the old Cardinal rule is you don't make the last out of an inning at third base, but clearly Bautista knew that he could move on over with no problem, and it didn't even draw a throw.
He's not taking any chances there.
No, he knew that he could literally walk to third base.
And there you saw Cito talking hitting with Adam Lind. That's a common scene ever since Cito took over as manager on June 20th of last year. 2 runs in here in the 4th inning for the Blue Jays. First and third with Hill at first, Bautista at third, and Alex Rios one for 2. Last time up, Alex went down and got a changeup away and singled to left field. Harrison now with a pitch, low and outside, 1-1.
And Rios would give you the appearance of that he's starting to feel just a little bit more comfortable at the plate.
Despite the low batting average, Alex is hitting .313 with runners in scoring position this year. And this one up the middle will increase that average. In comes Bautista. The Blue Jays have their 3rd run in the inning and lead it 5-2.
Pretty good pitch. It looked like a changeup. But Rios kept his hands back beautifully. He's really starting to look comfortable now. That was a great at bat. Great balance. And lined the ball hard right back through the middle.
Let's see what Vernon Wells can do now. He takes strike 1. And every little run here counts, Rance, because you know very well this Texas team can get back into this ball game in a hurry. Inside 1-1. Great sound there from Doug Innings. You heard it. Ball inside.
in his first at bat. Wells 2-0. Got a little impatient. He did swing at a strike, but I'd like to see him get a little bit better pitch to hit. 2-1. Stay patient here. Look for something to drive.
Like that. Like that. Well hit. Back toward the wall, but caught right at the base of the wall. And Vernon comes oh so close to knocking it out. Rod Barajas did, though, his second of the game. It's 5-2 for the Jays. Jamie Campbell seated alongside Rance Mulliniks. Sam Cosentino is down in the scout seats about 15 rows up from home plate. And as always in the booth, joined by our Sportsnet.ca columnist and statistician Scott Carson. Game 2 between the Rangers and the Blue Jays. This is the only visit Texas will make to Toronto this year. The Jays, meanwhile, will make a pair of visits to Arlington. They'll play 4 games beginning June 8th and then a 3-game set starting August 31st. Now here's David Percy. When the Jays scored twice in their half of the second, Percy promptly came back and allowed 2 runs in Texas's 3rd inning. So let's see what he can do given a 3-run lead. Saltalamacchia, the hitter, had the 2-run single in that 3rd inning for Texas, and he leads off this inning. Swung on and missed, and it's 2-2. You know, the Rangers are a lot like the Blue Jays in that their depth at the catcher position is so good they could afford to see Gerald Laird leave and join the Tigers at the beginning of the year. Their backup, Taylor Teagarden, is a top prospect. 2-2 pitch. Hit in the air down the right field line. Rios has lots of time to get over there, and he makes the play. We've also got a good-looking prospect in the minors named Max Ramirez. So catching is a strength for the Rangers, as it is for the Blue Jays. Back comes Ian Kinsler, who has struck out twice facing Percy tonight. One ball and one strike now on Kinsler. Ian was a 17th round pick out of the University of Missouri back in '03 by the Rangers. 1-1. Here's Percy, and that's golf foul. Prior to playing at the University of Missouri, he had played for both Arizona State and Central Arizona College. In fact, he transferred from Arizona State to the college because he was backing up a young man by the name of Dustin Pedroia at Arizona State and figured, I'm not going to get a whole lot of playing time here. Might as well go and find another school and find another program.
You know, 17th round draft pick, you don't really honestly expect him to turn into the type of player that Ian Kinsler has developed into. See, most hits after 13 games, 24. Sets a new record for the Rangers ball club. Al Oliver is a pretty good hitter.
Old teammate of yours. There's a one hopper backhanded by Scudero, who makes a great play to get it to Millar. He made that look easy.
No, but a difficult play. The ball was hit very hard. And you'll see Marco Scudero give a little ground here so he can get a little bigger hop and then a good, strong, accurate throw.
So Omar Vizquel loops the ball into center field. Vernon Wells over to pick it up. And the soon-to-be 42-year-old Vizquel is 2 for 3. He's having a good night for a man who hardly plays now. There's Gary Pettis, the first base coach, whispering words into Vizquel's ear.
I definitely think that, for me, Omar Vizquel is a Hall of Famer. And if you compare his numbers to Ozzie Smith.
Driven to center field. Vernon Wells on the run. It gets over his head and up against the wall. Vizquel rounds third, and he comes in to score. Young doubles in a run, and it's now a 5-3 Blue Jay lead.
The last two nights, the Jays have had their way with Michael Young, but sooner or later he's just too good a hitter, and a mistake, and he drives it hard. Vernon Wells with an excellent jump and unable to run it down. The ball was just hit too much on the line. And of course, with 2 out, Vizquel running all the way hard will score easily.
And Wells had been playing Young more to right center field, so he had a long way to go to try and get to that ball. David Percy unable then to get a shutdown inning after the Blue Jays scored 3 times in the 4th.
And again, he tried to start Jones with a changeup, and he was really under it and pushed it. Now he's put himself behind in the count, 1-0.
This ball hit high in the air yet again by Jones, and it will stay in the field of play for Wells. A 2-out double by Young makes it a 5-3 game. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. comfort zone and enjoying the big comfy chairs down there is a man who, well, quite frankly, needs a big comfy chair. There's Pops Mensah-Bonsu of the Toronto Raptors. Welcome.
How you doing?
Good. I have to ask you, you're from England, are you not?
Born and raised, born and raised.
Have you ever been to a Major League Baseball game prior to tonight?
No, I haven't. This is my first baseball game, and I have to say I'm pretty excited.
What do you think? It's not exactly cricket.
Definitely not cricket, but you know, it's pretty intense. You know, the ball. You don't know how fast the ball is thrown until you get down here, and you know, it's pretty intense, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm definitely gonna be frequenting some more Blue Jays games.
Great stuff. Well, you're close to the action, and we're glad to have you as Scott Feldman comes on for the Texas Rangers. Jamie Campbell and Rance Mullenix joined by Pops Mensah-Bonsu, who just joined the Toronto Raptors back in March. Have you enjoyed your time here? It hasn't been long.
Oh, it hasn't been long, but it's been very interesting, very eventful. I've had a great time in Toronto. I love the fans here and the people here. They've embraced me well, and you know, the city is great, and you know, I just love it. And hopefully, you know, I get to make a home here and have a future in Toronto, and you know, play here for some years to come.
Well, most of our guests down there sometimes get the business from the people seated nearby, so bear with us here, Pops.
No, this is great. I'm having a great, making my experience a whole lot more better.
Hey, Pops, did you ever consider soccer, being from England?
I did, actually. I played for 15 years until, you know, I got to about 6'6", 6'7", and then, you know, I kept on going, so I decided to go another route, and, you know, luckily it worked out for me.
You may be the only NBA player whose favorite team is in the English Premiership.
Oh yeah, well, I'm probably one of 3 NBA players that's from England, so you know.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Feldman dealing with Adam Lind. He swings and misses, striking out, so there's 1 gone. I don't know if you've ever talked to Steve Nash, but he's a huge soccer fan.
Yeah, I actually have. He's actually where he is one of his favorite teams is the team I grew up watching, and where I, you know, was right around where I lived. So you know, we have that connection there, to tell you the truth, and. You know, like I said, he's a big soccer fan, and hopefully I'm just as big as he is.
Scott Rowland comes up now to face Feldman, and the right-hander deals down low for ball 1. Is basketball a big deal in England?
I wouldn't say it's a big deal. It's getting bigger, you know, every year, especially with, you know, a couple more NBA players being from London, England. I think the interest in the sport is growing every day, and you know, with the success of the players in the NBA, it's happening. It's the interest is growing. So hopefully, you know, I'm able to help with that, and you know, hopefully the sport gets bigger and bigger in years to come.
Now, you played at George Washington University.
Yes, sir.
And you guys qualified for the NCAA tournament in 2005. As we look at the 1-2 pitch off the plate, compare a berth in the tournament to playing in the NBA.
A berth in the tournament. Well, you know, there's nothing like the March Madness experience. It's something that I feel every basketball player has to go through, because the atmosphere is so different from any other type of, you know, sporting event, that you have to go through it personally to understand what I'm saying. But it's definitely different, definitely something that you have to go through at least once in your life. And you know, luckily I was able to go through it a couple times, and you know, never got a chance to go too far. But you know, you know, I had a good time while I was there. But you know, the next thing I want to do is get to the NBA playoffs and, you know, see what that is like, and hopefully, you know, we'll go on from there.
You played with a few teams in the NBA now. Are you signed for next year? Are you going to be back next year?
Well, right now I'm a free agent, and my agent is, you know, talking with the Raptors and some other teams, and hopefully I'm back here with the Raptors. But you know, it's you know, I let him handle all of that. You know, that's the business side of things. I just make sure when I'm on the court I handle my job. But you know, like I said, I'm a free agent, and just waiting to see what happens. You know, would love to be in Toronto, and hopefully that's where I end up.
2-2. Sent foul by Rowland. Have you got a curveball by chance?
I think he needs to buy those people behind him another round.
I would think so.
I think you're getting a little dry.
These guys are great, man. They definitely making my experience at the game that much more better. So I'm loving it so far, and they definitely giving the first baseman a lot of problems right now. But I definitely enjoying my time right here.
They're awfully chatty back there. Here's a pop up by Rowland. And Davis puts him away for out number 2. Now, normally our guests often get a foul ball. Have you been so lucky tonight?
No, they've gone either too far or they haven't come out far enough. I don't have a glove either. I came unprepared. Definitely when I come next time, I'm going to have a glove and all the everything else to make sure that I have a chance to catch the ball, because I'm not looking forward to catching the ball if it comes my way. But I'm going to grab it. I'm going to have to grab it. I can't let the ball pass me by. Can't let that happen.
Here's Kevin Millar, who is 2 for 2. He's singled, he's doubled, and he takes a breaking ball for strike one. Final question, Pops. Who wins the NBA title this year?
Who wins the NBA title is a great question. I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat the LA Lakers in the finals.
Boy, that city could use it too.
Yeah, I think LeBron James has what it takes to bring a championship back there. I know the Lakers are very talented. They're very offensively skilled, but I think, you know, the Cavaliers just have too much. They have offense, they have a great defense, and they have a great player in LeBron James. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, listen, we're going to let you go so you can socialize with the guys behind you once again. Pops, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That is Pops Mensah-Bonsu of the Toronto Raptors. A 1-2 pitch. Now 2-2 on Kevin Millar, enjoying his first ever Major League Baseball game. Pretty good seats for a first time. 2-2 pitch. Feldman serves it up for Millar, who flies into center field. A 1-2-3 inning for the reliever. 5 in the books. It's a 5-3 lead for the Blue Jays. Pitches. He only went 4 innings.
4 innings, the 9 hits, but really, with the exception of a couple of swings off the bat of Rod Barajas, it wasn't all that bad. He did do a better job tonight of throwing strikes, and you have to take that, if you're Matt Harrison and the Texas Rangers, as a positive.
David Percy, meanwhile, continues on into the 6th inning. And right now he pitches with a 5-3 lead. But he'll face some men here in the 6th who can really swing the lumber, beginning with the designated hitter, Hank Blaylock. Strike one called on Blaylock, who was the hero of the All-Star game back in 2003 at the ripe age of 22, hitting a game-winning pinch hit home run in the 8th off Eric Gagne, who at that time with the Dodgers was lights out. Things have since changed for Gagne. Oh, and 2 now on Blaylock, and he offers it that one and is punched out on the appeal. Todd Tishner, the replacement in this crew after Kerwin Danley was hurt last night, is the final word at third base.
Great angle here, and you can clearly see that Blaylock, he went, no doubt.
6 strikeouts now for Percy as he faces Marlon Byrd, who was 1 for 2. Strike 1. We've got a pair of birthday wishes tonight. Both of them going out to Kelowna, British Columbia. A belated 78th birthday wish to Paul Shuchuk, and a happy 95th to Eleanor Kosser. Both watching on Sportsnet Pacific in Kelowna, BC. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rod Barajas, you could tell there when he was giving the signs to David Percy, he was putting emphasis like, come on now, throw it with conviction, because the previous pitch had been a curveball or attempted one, and again, he didn't really commit to it. His elbow was under it, and now Rod Barajas says, come on, let's get right back after it. And he goes right back after Bird, and that had to hurt a little bit. It looked like it was right off the right shoulder of Rod Barajas.
A veteran move by Doug Eddings to go out and sweep off the plate, giving Barajas some time, and he's emphatic again, willing his pitcher on, and Bird gets a piece of that one. That's one of the reasons why this pitching staff likes throwing to Rod Barajas. He led the American League in catcher's ERA last year with a 3.32. Tonight he's the offensive star with a pair of home runs. 2-2 pitch. And now Bird is smarting after the ball is fouled off his foot. Percy tries again, and it's a 3-2 count on Marlon Byrd.
And definitely here, 1 out in the 6th, nobody on. You want to make Marlon Byrd put the ball in play.
Now 90 pitches thrown by Percy, and there is action in the Blue Jays bullpen.
I think this is a very important inning for David Percy to get through without any damage done, because now you're into the 7th and you can really turn it over to a bullpen that as of late has really began to step it up and pitch like they did last year.
Off the plate, ball 4, and Percy issues his 2nd walk of the evening. Out comes Cito Gaston, and David will call it a night. The call has been made to Sean Camp in the pen, and the right-hander will come in. So this pitching change, as always, is brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. Great look at the CN Tower looming overhead, a closed dome tonight. It's the Blue Jays 5 and the Rangers 3. David Percy is gone after 5 1/3, and on comes right-hander Sean Kemp, who makes his 7th appearance this year.
And he has been very good for the Jays out of the bullpen. And couldn't get to it before the break, but over the last 8 games, the Jays bullpen, a 2.22 ERA, opponents hitting just 151 against them.
Kemp has been particularly effective. Over 6 2/3, has allowed just 4 hits and has not allowed an earned run. Opponents are hitting just 174 against him. Here's the right fielder Nelson Cruz. He has 6 home runs this year. Bird at first and 1 away. Kemp falls behind him right out of the gates at 2-0. Now 3-0.
And I think it may be quite possible that Sean Kemp is in the game, maybe just to pitch to Cruz. Well, certainly I would think that if he doesn't get Cruz out, he will not pitch to Davis.
Line to short. Scudero has it. And after 3-0, Kemp gets a quick out. And that's his night. Quickly out comes Cito. And he'll go to left-hander Jesse Carlson, with Chris Davis coming up for the Rangers. So yet another change brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. .87, but as you so aptly pointed out, they've been really good in the last 8 games.
Yes, and probably the reason is we've talked about it a lot, the importance of throwing strikes tonight. In those first 15 games, the bullpen walked 16.
Jesse Carlson has thrown 7 1/3 innings, allowing 2 earned runs on 4 hits. Opponents hitting just 160 against him. He comes in to face Chris Davis. So Kemp gets his man. Marlon Byrd, the responsibility of David Percy, stands at first with 2 out in the 6th inning. Carlson was with the Rangers organization in between stints with the Blue Jays. He first signed with Toronto as a minor leaguer in 05. Went off and played AA and AAA in the Texas organization the next year, and then came right back to the Blue Jays after that. And that one goes off Millar, but he has time to recover, get to the bag, and he's thrown out as Aaron Hill makes a nice play to get Davis. How about the reaction of Millar there?
There's a hanging breaking ball that's hit very hard. Nice job just to kind of knock it down, and great reaction by Aaron Hill. This isn't the way you would draw it up, but it worked just as well.
Percy, but why don't we call it vastly improved over his last 2 outings?
Very much improved, and David Percy and the Jays have to be encouraged by his performance tonight. Now the key is you hope that he can build on this evening's performance and take a very positive, confident attitude into his next start. The key will be consistency. Can he repeat it? We know he has the ability to do it. Just has to be consistent.
Rod Barajas has never had a 3 home run game. 6 times he's hit 2. The 6th, well, you're watching it. Let's show them both to you. Here's the 2nd inning with Kevin Millar on. A line shot into the bleachers. Here's the 4th inning, and this one, a high arcing deep shot into the bullpen with that great trajectory, and this one is popped up over to second base. So Scott Feldman in his 2nd inning of relief for the Texas Rangers, taking over for left-hander Matt Harrison, who went 4 innings. And didn't Feldman have himself a day last August against the Boston Red Sox? He started a game in which the Red Sox had a 10-0 lead after the 1st inning. Feldman allowed 2 3-run home runs to David Ortiz in the 1st. Swing and a miss. Remarkably, he didn't lose the ball game. He gave up 12 runs in 2 1/3. And the Rangers ended up losing the game 19-17. As it's grounded deep in the hole, Vizquel, the long throw, Bautista's in time. As Davis drops the ball at first, so Bautista is 3 for 3.
Omar Vizquel has never had a great arm, never had great arm strength, but watch how quick he gets rid of the baseball. And great hustle by Bautista. Vizquel did everything he could. Great look at it from this angle, and it looks as if Bautista just there ahead of the baseball.
1 on and 1 out for Marco Scutaro. Let's go down to Sam Cosentino.
Well, there's good reason why Ron Washington is arguing, guys. Ron Washington told Sportsnet's Carter Buchanan before the game that he wanted to see Omar Vizquel do that on balls hit to the hole, bounce it off the turf. He said you can take advantage of that situation, much the way Mike Young has done a couple of times in this series already. So the instruction from Washington is, hey, when you're in the hole, bounce that ball off the turf to try and get it there. He did so. He was safe on a close play. That's why Washington came out to argue based on his own advice.
Feldman with 2 strikes here on Scutaro. 1 and 2. Marco has walked twice. He struck out once and has Bautista at first base. There's the 1-2 pitch, chopped on the ground toward third. Young has one play, and he slings it to first to get Scutaro. Wide of the plate on Hill. Aaron is really locked in, hitting with men in scoring position and 2 out this year. 4 for 8 with a home run and 7 total RBIs. That situation is presented to him here with Bautista at second. 2 balls, no strikes. Feldman with the pitch, and it's 3-0.
As Aaron Hill, a very hot hitter, as you mentioned, and Rios on deck, who has gotten off to a slow start. And with first base open, if you're Feldman, maybe you think about pitching a little careful to Hill at the plate, who's been real hot. But Rios has looked a lot better tonight, and you have to take that into consideration.
4 straight pitches, and Aaron draws a walk. First and second then for Alex.
Rios looks a lot more comfortable tonight at the plate.
Although he looked comfortable against Harrison.
But it did look to me like the Rangers were not going to give in to Aaron Hill.
Facing Feldman now, the right-hander. Ground ball and a base hit. Bautista turns for home. Here's the throw in, and he's in there safely. A 2-out RBI for Alex Rios. Alex enjoying quite a night. 3 for 4, all of them singles, but he's driven in 2.
And when Rios is starting to feel it at the plate, the fastball that's middle in, nobody in baseball is quicker. You can't throw it by him. That was a fastball in. And he hit it hard on the ground into left field. Now, I think if you're Bautista, you ought to be sliding right there just to make sure.
Here's Vernon Wells now with an opportunity. Ball 1. Wells has 2 hits and 4 tries against Feldman career. Vernon 0 for 3 tonight. The 1-0 pitch. Down low for ball 2. Hitters count here at 2-0. And it's low for 3-0.
Good patience by Wells. 2-0, sometimes you get a little amped up and maybe chase something that's borderline.
Do you give Vernon the green light here?
I am sure that Vernon has the green light if he wants to let it go.
Here it comes, up high for ball 4. Feldman walks his second man in the 6th inning. Ron Washington has a left-hander up in the bullpen. Adam Lynn, the DH, comes to the plate 0 for 3. And now Washington makes his way out. And it looks as if Derek Holland will make his big league debut here in the 6th inning. So we'll address the young left-hander. But first, this pitching change is brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. You're looking at 22-year-old Derek Holland, who is just 3 years removed from high school baseball, making his major league debut, the second-ranked prospect by Baseball America in the Texas Rangers system.
A young man that one of the last of the draft and follows. For those who don't know what that means, major league clubs used to be able to draft a player and follow him for a year. If they didn't sign him prior to the next year's draft, he would go back into the draft. They no longer do that. That has been discontinued, but he started last season with what was considered to be an average fastball, but at Clinton A-ball, he started all of a sudden touched 95 by the end of the year. At times was hitting 99. So a young man that the Rangers feel has a tremendous future ahead of him.
Good fastball, good changeup, decent slider. Tough situation as he faces Adam Lind. Bases loaded, 2 gone. Strike 1. And kind of an across the body motion. Lindo for 3. He struck out his last time up facing Feldman. The kid gets ahead 0-2. Holland hails from Newark, Ohio, drafted out of a high school there in the 25th round in 2006. That pitch is way up high, 94 miles an hour.
Generally speaking, as a major league hitter facing a young pitcher that's known to have an outstanding fastball, you pretty much, if you've never faced him before, just throw everything out and look for the fastball, because you're probably going to get a good challenge.
Lofted toward left field, but out of play.
Last pitch was a slider, but the first 2 pitches to Adam Lind were fastballs, and the second one was a pretty good one to hit. But young arms that throw hard like to use their fastball and show it off.
He takes a deep breath on 1 and 2. And here comes the pitch. On the ground. And what a play by Young. Here's the hard throw, and it's offline. So Aaron Hill comes in to score. It's now a 7-3 lead. And Michael Young has made a ton of plays so far in this series. He could not make one there.
A great effort. Having to move to his right towards the third baseline to get to the baseball, and with a left-handed hitter up, had a ways to go, but had to dive very quickly on his feet. A good strong throw, but because he had to rush it just a little bit, it was a little offline. But a tough play. A good throw would have probably had Adam Lind at first base.
Ball 1 to Scott Rowland. Four Grand Slams career for Rowland. He's been named to 5 All-Star games. This young man on the mound must be feeling a touch intimidated as he gets a foul off.
I think one thing's for sure, we've established the fact that he has a very good arm.
Yes, we have. Projected to be at some point in the front of the rotation for the Texas Rangers. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bases loaded for the Blue Jays. 7-3 Toronto. Now 1 and 2. Rowland is 0 for 3 on the evening. His last Grand Slam back in 06. He was with the Cardinals then. 1-2 pitch, and he pops him up. In comes Vizquel, and out go the Blue Jays. They leave him loaded, but score 2 in the 6th inning. It's now 7-3 Jays. Zenya. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. Tonight at Rogers Center, it's the Blue Jays leading the Rangers 7-3. From wherever you're watching tonight on Sportsnet, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in. This is Jamie Campbell. I am with Rance Mullenix, and Sam Cosentino is down low. Jesse Carlson pitches the 7th inning for the Blue Jays. David Percy tonight going 5 1/3, allowing 3 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 6 and walked 2. Carlson follows Sean Camp, who retired 1 hitter. The number 9 hitter is Jason Saltalamacchia. I said Jason. I meant Jarrett. Fouls it back, 1-1. Ian Kinsler will follow, and then Omar Vizquel is due up. Fly ball into center field. And Vernon backs up a few steps to make the out. 1 away as we begin the 7th inning. The Blue Jays have improved dramatically over last year offensively. Last year they averaged 4.4 runs per game. Early on this year it's close to 6.2. And you can give some credit to the 2 men you see there, manager Cito Gaston and hitting coach Gene Tennis. You could also, of course, refer to Cito as manager / hitting coach, as Kinsler gets jammed and he flies into center field. So quickly 2 gone here. The numbers just keep getting better. What a difference, about 1.5 runs per game. That's significant.
Very much so. So far averaging just over 6 runs a game here in 09.
Two gone for Vizquel, who is 2 for 3. Two balls and no strikes. Carlson with that unique delivery. Does he ever fall a long way toward the first base side off the mound?
And he really throws across his body. And that has to make him a little bit difficult to pick up. You know, to pick the ball up, because he hides it. You throw across your body such as Jesse Carlson does, it almost appears to the hitter like the baseball is coming out of the shoulder instead of, you know, out here out of your hand, and it can make it difficult to pick it up.
Even more difficult if you're a left-handed hitter too. I can imagine what that must look like.
Especially when he throws you that breaking ball, the big sweeping curve. Here's a very good look at it. You can see where the front foot lands, and he really throws across his body. And he gives you all that motion as well.
He's airborne near the end. 2-2 pitch. Good looking 1-2. Catches Vizquel looking. And Carlson gets a 1-2-3 7th inning. After 6.5 here at Rogers Center. It's the Blue Jays 7, the Rangers 3. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. fact, presented by Rogers High-Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. And you may know this already, but the Blue Jays lead the way with 44 runs scored after the 6th inning. In that respect, they were 29th in the big leagues in 08. And that means they've taken advantage of some relievers here and there. 7 runs scored inside 6 for the Jays tonight, as Millar grounds it softly to Young, who spins and fires and applies the tag on Millar for the out. So Davis gets the ball down in time to get Millar, and there's one away.
Nice play by Michael Young, and a very good one on the back end by Davis to come off the bag, handle the throw, and apply the tag on Millar. It's a fine play by the first baseman.
Here's Barajas again. 2 home runs in the ball game for Rod, his first 2 of the season. Let's hear again from Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, the Rangers must have the utmost respect for Michael Young's athleticism. If you go back to the time he was drafted by the Blue Jays as a second baseman, he goes over to Texas. Ian Kinsler bumps him over to shortstop, and now Elvis Andrus has bumped him over to third base, and he's been great everywhere he's been. His bat has never failed once throughout the course of his seasons in Texas as one of the most consistent run producers. And based on the defense I've seen him play in this series, he seems well fitted for third base.
And Sam, he initially balked at that move. You might remember for about a week's time he had requested a trade instead of making the positional move, but then rescinded that request and is now looking pretty good there at third base as Andrus develops at short, because Michael Young has been very loyal to the Rangers organization and encourages it from his own teammates as Barajas gets a piece of the ball. Prior to last year, he sat down with Ian Kinsler and encouraged Kinsler to sign a long-term deal with the Rangers. And Kinsler did, 5 years and $22 million. And he cited loyalty to the organization. 2-2 now on Barajas, who fouls it back. And Sam mentioned this. Young was originally drafted and developed by the Blue Jays, a 5th-round pick in '97, but sent to Texas in July of 2000 when the Blue Jays acquired Esteban Loaiza. And if you think of how many different shortstops the Jays have had since then, had that trade not been made, perhaps Young provides some stability in that respect.
Rod Barajas upset with himself for chasing ball 4. Pitch that was clearly up and out of the strike zone. Maybe look at his reaction.
There's the 3-2, and pitch number 9 is taken out of the play.
And one of the adjustments that a young hard thrower has to make when he comes to the big leagues is he's used to oftentimes just overmatching hitters, and you can't do that here consistently at the major league level. And you're used to sometimes when you throw that hard slider 2-2 down and out of the strike zone, hitters chase it. Not so much so here at the big league level.
Into center field, Bird gets the jump and runs in, making the catch, putting away Barajas. And that's out number 2 in the 7th inning.
And sometimes it takes a while for a young pitcher to be able to make the adjustment, because sometimes up here a pitch that at the minor league level doesn't get hit gets hit very hard at the major league level.
Here's Bautista lining into center field. I'm getting the B's mixed up tonight. 1, 2, 3. go the Jays in the 7th inning. Still a 7-3 lead, Toronto. The same through 9 innings of play as Downs takes over. A left-hander following a left-hander here as Jesse Carlson went 1 1/3 without giving up a hit. Now it's Downs' turn, and he, like pretty well everybody else in the bullpen, has started extremely well this year. 7 2/3 for Downs. He's given up just 2 hits, and like Sean Kemp, has not allowed an earned run. So a 0.00 ERA for Downs. Michael Young, the first hitter he'll face, and he gets a strike. Downs, like so many modern day pitchers, missed an entire year after Tommy John surgery on his left elbow. That was 2001. He initially broke in with the Cubs in 2000, but was traded to Montreal for Rondell White in July of that year. Ground ball to the right side, and it stays inside the line, so Young turns for second, and he leads off with a double.
Michael Young with his second double of the night, doubled over the head of the center fielder Rios in his last at bat, and this one just great hitting. He really stays on this pitch, down and away from him, and drives it hard inside the bag at first base. Not only is he an excellent hitter in any situation, but since 2003, Michael Young, with runners in scoring position, second only to Albert Pujols in Major League Baseball, with a .351 average with runners in scoring position.
And standing in there now, Andrew Jones. Here's Downs off the mound quickly. The throw is dropped by Millar as Jones hurdles him at the bag, and he's coming up tender.
Scotty Downs, who's a very good athlete and feels his position very well, gets off the mound quickly and gets off a quick snap throw. It's just a little up the line. A great play by Millar. He almost was able to come up with this. Here's the snap throw. Great effort by Millar, and then a quick adjustment there by Jones to avoid Kevin Millar. And I think if he
never touched the bag.
If he picks the ball up right there and goes back and steps on the bag, or goes and tags the runner, Jones, he's out. Let's see if he called him safe right away. And there was the safe call. That would explain why Kevin Millar made no effort to tag him. but that could have ended up a bad situation for both players involved.
Well, the first two for the Rangers here in the 8th reach. Young now at third, Jones at first, and staying there at first. Ball one to the DH, Hank Blaylock. You can never be comfortable when playing the Texas Rangers. Swung on and missed.
So far, everything to Hank Blaylock from Scott Downs has been in. Barajas setting up inside with every pitch, all three fastballs.
One and two. Downs with a pitch, and he goes. Blaylock is a strikeout victim. And there's an out in the books here in the 8th inning.
This is the second time this evening against left-handed pitching. Hank Blaylock has chased a pitch that was clearly down, well out of the strike zone in the dirt, but unable to check his swing.
Here's Marlon Byrd's chance then to close the lead. Toronto leading by 4 in the 8th. First pitch to Byrd is grounded to third. Roland to second. Hill to first. Not in time to get Byrd. And Young comes home. It's now a 7-4 game.
Ball clearly not hit hard enough to double up the speedy Marlon Byrd. Great effort by Aaron Hill, and Andrew Jones on him with a good, hard, aggressive, clean slide.
And Scott Downs allows his first earned run of the season, but gets out number 2 on the play. Nelson Cruz now. One ball, no strikes. The bullpen has been so good that is the first earned run allowed by a relief pitcher, a Toronto relief pitcher, since Brandon League gave up a pair of runs in the 8th inning on Friday against Oakland. They've been shut down ever since. 2-0 and a wave and a miss. The lead is 3 for the Blue Jays. Byrd standing at first. 2 out and a 2-1 count on Cruz. Here's Scudero. And the Rangers are gone in the 8th. They get 1, but still trail by 3. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. 7, 8, and 9 hitters. Kevin Millar, 2 for 4. Rod Barajas, a pair of home runs. Jose Bautista, 3 for 4. So the bottom third really doing a number on the Texas Rangers tonight. And that's why we reached the bottom of the 8th with the Blue Jays ahead 7-4, as you caught a glimpse there of new left fielder David Murphy. He takes over for the hobbled Andrew Jones, as Marco Scutaro, Aaron Hill, and Alex Rios prepare to face rookie Derek Holland. Jamie Campbell is with Rance Mullenix tonight. Sam Cosentino with us as well. Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Rangers and Jays. Here's the 2-0 pitch, sent into the air in right field by Scutaro, and Cruz puts him away for the first out. Please join us again tomorrow night for the final game of this series, as Kevin Millwood, the right-hander, takes on Scott Richmond. It's been a while since we've seen Richmond pitch. His last outing was a week ago tonight in Minnesota, when he defeated Scott Baker and picked up his first win of the year. Ball 1 to Aaron Hill.
Another very good sign tonight. In fact, Alex Rios has 3 hits in this game and has looked a lot better, a lot more comfortable this evening.
Here's 22-year-old Derek Holland in his major league debut. To this point, he's acquitted himself quite well. 1-2 on Hill. The first big league batter he faced was Adam Lind in the 6th inning. Lind was able to pick up an infield single to third, driving in a run. But since then, Holland has retired 5 in a row. He's got 2 strikes on Hill. Now 3. And Aaron Hill is his first big league strikeout victim. Well, if you'd like to hear what Cito Gaston has to say when this game is over, you can watch his post-game press conference exclusively at BlueJays.com. Get the inside scoop from the skipper himself. Log on to BlueJays.com and watch it live soon after this game concludes. Cito was reminiscing today about a game he played in 39 years ago today, when he was with the Padres at Shea Stadium in New York. Tom Seaver struck out 19 Padres, and at one point struck out 10 consecutive hitters. As Cito remembers, he was the 9th in that string of 10.
Say, how many times did he get Cito?
I'm not sure if it was more than once, but I know he got him. Cito said, with all due respect to Tom Terrific, the shadows at Shea Stadium were pretty darn deadly that day, and it was tough to pick up the baseball. I'd say most hitters who ever faced Tom Seaver thought it was tough to pick up the baseball regardless of the situation. Sam, have you got more to add?
Well, Jamie, you talked about young pitchers and powerful guys like Seaver was. You look at guys like Jabba Chamberlain and Justin Masterson, and maybe Holland is one of those guys who fits in that mold. A hard thrower, starts in the bullpen, eventually get moved into a starting role.
And they've got some good young pitchers in their system, Sam, as you well know, after trading away so many. You just saw Alex Rios pick up his 4th hit of the night. So maybe this is the night that Alex really gets out of his funk. 4 singles, and he's managed to boost his average to 250. He started this night hitting 206. But consider that the Rangers in the past have traded away people like Edinson Volquez, John Danks, Armando Galarraga. Nolan Ryan's plan now is to hang on to young pitchers like Derek Holland.
To build a winning ball club, it starts with pitching. You have to have a pitching staff. You have to build one. And then, you know this is a ball club that has offense. They always do. They're going to score runs. So you just have to build a staff that can go out there, keep you in ball games, and give you a chance to win on a consistent basis. And add a key player here or there.
Oh, Holland swings it to first. It gets away from Davis, and now Rios advances. Charge an error to Holland on the play. Rios in scoring position. The 1-1 pitch is popped up, and the ball sails out of play. The Blue Jays began the day a game and a half clear of second place New York. The Yankees needed 14 innings, but they walked off with a win over Oakland earlier today. Here's Holland with a 1-2 pitch. Now 2-2.
And again, you see Holland and the Texas Rangers trying to go up the ladder on Vernon Wells. Try to see if he'd chase the ball up again.
Strike 3 call. Holland strikes out Hill, and he strikes out Wells in the inning, leaving 1. End of 8, and here comes B.J. Ryan to try and close out a victory for the Blue Jays. B.J. Ryan, he goes to work on Chris Davis, trying to earn number 3. Ninth inning of play, the Blue Jays on top by 3. And he hits Chris Davis. And Davis will take a walk down to first base. The saves have not come easy for Ryan this year.
He's trying to go fastball up, not even really in, just up above the belt or up around the letters. You could see Rod Barajas set up right in the middle of the plate, basically.
So Davis is on for Jared Saltalamacchia. Ball 1 to Saltalamacchia. BJ picked up the save Sunday after Ricky Romero went 7 innings. Gave up a hit in the 9th to Matt Holliday and struck out Jack Cust. Still, the numbers don't look that good. 4 2/3. He's allowed 7 hits, given up 4 earned runs, and an opponent's batting average of .389. Here's Sam Cosentino.
Well, guys, with B.J. Ryan and Josh Hamilton did not start this game. A big, powerful right-handed bat available to Ron Washington. As soon as the hit by pitch by Davis occurred, Hamilton grabbed his bat, put on his gloves, and I believe he's working underneath the stands here right now and getting ready for a possible pinch hit appearance.
And this is a huge hitter right now. If you can retire Saltalamacchia, you stay out of that tying situation. Now you're going to bring Kinsler to the plate with an opportunity to tie the ball game.
This is a troublesome start. First 2 get aboard in a 3-run game. And the red hot, despite an 0 for 4 so far, the red hot Ian Kinsler.
And you have to believe the way this inning has started for B.J. Ryan, and his record so far this season. Probably get somebody up in the bullpen and get him throwing. You never know.
Strike 1. Quickly, Jason Frazier starts to throw. He came on earlier this year in Cleveland to save B.J. Ryan. 0-1 pitch, and it's chopped foul.
And B.J. Ryan coming right back with a couple of very good sliders down and in a good spot against Ian Kinsler.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Kinsler doesn't chase. It's 1-2, and Josh Hamilton has come into the on-deck circle as Sam predicted. The 1-2 pitch, and Kinsler gets a piece.
But good location from B.J. Ryan. A fastball that was up and in a very good spot for Kinsler to hit it hard. He probably had to pull it foul. And able to just fight it off, pull his hands in a little bit and stay alive.
1-2 on the ground. Scutero to Hill. Over to first and off the bag. Millar is pulled off the bag. And so Davis scores. Kinsler moves up to second, and that might prove terribly costly to the Jays.
It's a pretty routine double play. I thought maybe Aaron Hill rushed this just a little bit. He had a little more time than he thought. You see a quick snap throw there. And Kinsler runs well, but I think he had a little more time than he thought. Nice effort on the part of Millar to try to keep it in front of him and keep the double play in order.
Josh Hamilton falls behind 0-1.
But Aaron Hill would be the first one to tell you that's a double play that he has to turn.
Saltalamacchia is erased on the play. Kinsler advances to second on the fielder's choice and E4. Now the throw down to third, not in time. And Kinsler now steals the bag.
And really, in the scheme of things, that really doesn't make a lot of difference or impact the ball game. The key is you got to get the next 2 guys out no matter what.
1-1. Swung on and missed. Josh Hamilton, his first at bat of the ball game. Pinch hitting for Omar Vizquel. Michael Young on deck. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here comes Ryan, and it's ball 2.
And that's one of the reasons Kinsler stole third, is they're really not paying any attention to him, because he really is that run really doesn't mean anything. It's this man here and the guy on deck.
The tying run is at the plate. Here's the pitch, slashed foul. BJ's needed 17 pitches to this point. 2-2 pitch and a little roller out to Scudero. Kinsler comes in. It's now a one-run game, but the Blue Jays take the out, and there are 2 away. So Michael Young then, as Cito, if he's a little nervous, he's not showing it right now. Knows his team leads by just 1, but here's a tough hitter in Young.
If you're B.J. Ryan in this situation against Michael Young, keep the fastball away from him. Everything away. If you come in with the slider, make sure you get it down and in.
Hit well, hit far, and hit deep to center field. And guess what, folks? It's a tie ball game in Toronto. Unbelievable. A 3-run lead gone just like that. A solo home run. And this game is all knotted at 7.
Left a ball in the middle of the plate, trying to keep it away. The ball ends up middle in and down, and Michael Young didn't miss it.
Here's David Murphy. 0-2. It's a meltdown in the 9th inning. 3 runs have scored. Texas has tied it at 7. 0-2. Strike 3 called. But Ryan isn't concerned with Murphy. He's concerned with 3 runs on the board. Off to the bottom of the 9th. Tied at 7. The series wraps up tomorrow night with a 7 Eastern start, 4 Pacific. Join us for the pregame show beginning at 6:30. Kevin Millwood against Scott Richmond. This one, though, has yet to be determined. And Derek Holland continues to throw for the Rangers, and he faces Adam Lind again.
Yeah, why not? He's been very, very impressive since entering the ball game tonight. And I think if you're the Texas Rangers, you have to be very pleased with what you've seen here in Derek Holland.
Now, as much as 3 runs scored in that inning, the throwing error by Aaron Hill on what looked like a double play ball certainly undermined the performance of B.J. Ryan.
And you could make the argument that if you turn the double play that you should.
This ball lined to right field, and a base hit for Lynn.
You would be
a
out.
Good start.
Yes, very good. I'm sorry, Jamie. You would have been out of the inning with the ground ball out of Hamilton to short, and the game would have been over. But a good start for the Jays. Nice piece of hitting by young Adam Lynn. He kept that front side in there, drove the ball hard into right field. Here's a look at the swing. Well, that's just a great pass right there.
Travis Snyder will pinch run now for Lynn. And Ron Washington makes the slow walk to the mound. He's called upon a right-handed reliever, so the pitching change brings Holland out of his big league debut, and it was a good debut at that. The change presented by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. Running for Adam Lind, who has singled to lead off the bottom of the 9th. And that single chases Derek Holland. So veteran Willie Air, who missed all of last year, getting Tommy John surgery on his right elbow, makes his 3rd appearance of the young season. Air made his big league debut in this building April 6th of 06. He was then pitching for the Minnesota Twins. He faces Scott Rowland, who is 0 for 4 tonight. And many Blue Jay fans are obviously feeling like it didn't have to get this far. Bottom of the 9th. And the possible winning run is on base in Travis Snyder. A blown save by B.J. Ryan at the top of the inning. It's 7-7. Wave and a miss. That pitch off the plate. 0-2 on Rowland. Snyder dives back. Among Blue Jays, Scott Rowland is the leader in walk-off hits with 9 of them. He's been in this position before, behind 1-2 in the count, and he drives that ball to right field, but it hangs up for Cruz. And Rollins retired. Kevin Millar now will face air. Millar's last walk-off hit was last June, a 10th inning single. He was then playing for Baltimore against Jose Valverde of the Houston Astros. One on and one out. And Snyder's back again.
Travis Snyder with a pretty good lead at first base, although he's not giving any by body language indicating that he's looking to run. But he had one foot, that right foot, out on the turf. That's a pretty good lead. But you can see he's almost like leaning towards the bag.
Willie Air has certainly had trouble in the 3 1/3 innings he's worked this year, giving up 3 earned runs. Opponents are hitting .417 against him in the early going. Here's Millar. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
And now Kevin Millar has put himself in a pretty good position, 2-0, and no doubt, knowing Millar, he'll be looking for a fastball that he can pull and try and attempt to drive.
3 balls, no strikes. Michael Young at third base is certainly anticipating that. He's close to the line.
He has to cover that line. You don't want anything between you and the third base line. You don't try to cut off an extra base hit. Is Michael Young.
3-0 pitch, and he lets it go. Now 3-1. 1 away in the 9th inning. Millar at the dish. Rod Barajas on deck. Willie Air trying to send this to extra innings. And a pitch on the way, and it's sent out of play.
And Millar got one there. A little frustrated with himself for missing it. See it as a fastball middle in, and he just doesn't quite catch up with it. And you can see there by the reaction, he knew he missed a good one. But here 3-2 should get a fastball.
And it's rolled out softly to Andrews. And the Rangers complete the double play. This is a pumped up team now. They've come back to force extra innings against the Blue Jays as B.J. Ryan heads for the clubhouse. Jason Frazier comes on for the Jays. Frazier now making his 7th appearance of the year, and he too has been excellent. Has not allowed an earned run in 6 innings of work, and he's given up just 2 base hits. In the 10th inning, he will face Hank Blaylock, Marlon Byrd, and Nelson Cruz. My goodness, Rance, it seems everybody 1 through 9 on this Texas Rangers team is capable of hitting the long ball.
That is a lineup with a lot of depth. They can put pressure on you every inning. They don't have to wait around for, 3, 4, or 2, 3, and 4 to come up.
So the Jays go to extra innings for the 3rd time this year. They lost the first one in Minnesota last week, and won on Saturday in walk-off style when Lyle Overbay hit a home run in the 12th inning. So with Blaylock up, the defense shifts to the right side, and Frazier gets a strike, 0-1. And that's bounced in front of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jason picked up the victory Saturday, working 2/3 of an inning in the 12th and taking benefit from Overbay's walk-off homer. So he's 2-0 in the early going. 1 ball and 1 strike, and it's popped up. And the ball drifts out of play. Two strikes on the hitter and another bouncer. 2-2. Well, the comeback by the Rangers erases any chance David Percy had of winning the ball game. Percy pitched 5 1/3, allowing 3 runs on 7 hits. He'll have to settle now for a no decision. Here's the pitch from Frazier, and it's popped into shallow left center. Roland goes back to make the play, and Blaylock's gone. And that brings up Marlon Byrd.
Nice job of pitching by Frazier to Blaylock, leading off the top of the 10th. Started him out with the first pitch was something off speed. I think it's a split finger fastball, and got him to chase it. Most hitters late, especially late in the game like this, they're amped up, maybe trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Good idea to start him with something other than a fastball. And they're starting Marlon Byrd with what looked to be a slider.
The 0-1 pitch, and it's outside. So here's Byrd, 1 for 3 on the night against the hard throwing right-hander Jason Frazier. Frazier comes with a heat. It's 1-2.
And you can tell by the reaction of the hitter Byrd after the first 2 sliders, 1 for a strike, 1 just off the plate. Then the 93-mile-an-hour fastball got on him just a little bit. See, he'll be a little behind this, couldn't quite catch up with it. And now that opens up the door for Frazier. He can come back in hard with a fastball, maybe go back away with a slider, see if you can get him to chase.
Change up, down and in. 2-2. Nelson Cruz on deck for Texas. And time called at the plate. Here's a 2-2 pitch on the ground for Scudero. And Bird is gone. One more to go for the Blue Jays. The power hitting Nelson Cruz, though, who hit his 6th home run in yesterday's game, steps in against Frazier. Frazier is the 5th relief pitcher Cito Gaston has needed in this game. Ball 1. "11 days ago, it was Frazier who came in after B.J. Ryan had blown that 4-run lead against Cleveland. And Frazier was able to strike out Victor Martinez as this ball is sent to right field, backing up Rios, and Frazier gets a 1-2-3 10th. Who's hit 2 home runs tonight? Oh yeah, Rod Barajas. He leads off when we return. My first slip of the year, I call them the Devil Rays. They are the Rays and have been for over a year now. My apologies to the organization. Bottom of the 10th inning, and Rod Barajas 2 for 4 with a couple of home runs. He's facing Willie Air here. The Blue Jays dropped the opener last night 5-4. As Roy Halladay fell to 3-1 on the year. That's cued foul, 1-1 on Barajas. They got a decent outing tonight from David Percy in his 4th start. He went 5 1/3. Had a lot of help from the man at the plate, Barajas, who has a pair of 2-run homers. But it all went for naught in the 9th inning after the Rangers scored 3 against B.J. Ryan. They tied it on a 2-out solo home run deep to center field by Michael Young. And here is Barajas.
And I think
in the 2nd inning and in the 4th inning, a towering home run. And now it looks like Willie Air is hurt on field.
after that last pitch to Barajas, he walked off the mound and motioned to the dugout. So something definitely is wrong.
Remember, this is a man who missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery on the right elbow. So there's no question here he is going to depart. And C.J. Wilson will come in from the bullpen. What happens here?
And I think see if it's his shoulder or no really indication there. Well, it looked like yes, with his glove.
So C.J. Wilson will come in and get some warm-up tosses, and we'll take a break. The pitching change presented by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. Rangers closer, and tonight he will pitch for the second consecutive time. He came into last night's game in the 8th inning and gave up a single to Adam Lynn, one that drove in a run in the 8th inning. 6 1/3. He's allowed 7 hits and has walked 3, striking out 6. Wilson's ERA at 5.68. He will finish the work of Willie Air, who has a 2-1 count on catcher Rod Barajas. With a little more on Air's situation, let's go downstairs and bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, watching Willie Air coming out of the game, I don't think it was an upper body or an arm injury, just based on his reaction and watching him down here in the tunnel towards the Texas Rangers clubhouse side. Based on what I saw, I would say definitely a lower body injury and nothing arm related.
Well, we'll certainly get an update on that situation in time for tomorrow's game. So Barajas had to step aside as Wilson came in and threw a bunch of warm-up pitches. He's ready to go now. Barajas caught Wilson for a few years, so he's got a pretty good idea of what to expect. If you have just joined us, we're in the bottom of the 10th inning here at Rogers Center. Tied at 7. I'm Jamie Campbell with Rance Mullenix. You've heard from Sam Cosentino. The Blue Jays led throughout most of this game until the 9th when Texas scored 3. 3-2 on Barajas.
And clearly Rod Barajas taking all the way. Trying to draw the base on balls to start the inning, and probably feels like I'm going to get the same pitch, a fastball 3-2 as I did 3-1.
Strike 3. Barajas thought he had the pass, but Doug Eddings thinks otherwise.
And I think Rod Barajas has a good argument. This pitch appeared to be down. There's no question that ball's low.
Time for Jose Bautista to step in. Swing and a miss. 1-1. With Barajas going deep tonight, the Jays now have 10 different men who have hit a home run this year. Bautista is not one of them. And he lines this shot into center field. Bird was playing well back, so Bautista is on with a 1-out single.
Well, when you get into late inning ball games or in extra innings, as an outfielder, when there's nobody on, you play deeper than normal to try to prevent the extra base hit, the ball being hit over your head. In other words, you play deep enough, the ball's hit over your head, it's out of the ballpark. And that's the reason why Marlon Byrd was not able to catch this line drive off the bat of Bautista. You can see how deep he was from that shot.
Here's Scutaro now as Bautista hustles back to the bag.
And I think if you're Michael Young, you know, you have to respect the fact that Scutaro might drop a bunt down, and he gets it down the line where he's swinging away there, but where Michael Young is playing, it's easily going to be a base hit, and then the Jays are really in business. And even if you fail to get a hit, you would move a runner into scoring position with hot-hitting Aaron Hill on deck.
Bautista on first, 1 away. C.J. Wilson with the pitch, and it's inside for ball 1. The Jays have had 2 walk-off victories this year. Bautista standing at first, and now Wilson takes some time. It was Barajas with a sac fly in the first series against Detroit in the bottom of the 9th. Overbay hit a 12th inning home run Saturday against Oakland. Here in the bottom of the 10, 1-1 on Scutaro. And strike 2 called. We have certainly seen our share of hits tonight. The Jays have 15. Texas has 10. Scutaro without one in 5 trips to the plate. And he waves at that one, going down on strikes for the second out.
This last pitch here is nasty. See the hard break down and in. Marco Scutaro trying to check his swing, unable to do so.
Back comes Aaron Hill now. And he is certainly seeing the ball well these days. He sees a strike on the first pitch from Wilson.
And That's Wilson's best pitch, or his strikeout pitch, is that good, hard breaking ball.
And did Hill offer it that? Yes, he did. And quickly falls behind, 0-2.
I think probably a good call. It looked like the bat passed the home plate.
A grounder and an attempt made by Andrews. He can't get the throw there in time. And so Hill manages to beat it out for an infield single. And it's 1st and 2nd now.
Well, a great effort by the young shortstop, but as far as he had the range to his right, no chance to throw out Aaron Hill from this position. Probably should have just held on to the baseball and not risked throwing it away.
So a chance is provided to Alex Rios in the bottom of the 10th inning. And Rios tonight is 4 for 5. All 4 of them singles. Is he locked in? Let's find out. Strike 1 from Wilson. We've touched on this before. Alex is one of the few players with this team that has yet to hit a home run this year. 2 men on, tied at 7. Bottom of the 10th. Here's Wilson. And that's ball 1.
And if you check the outfielders in their depth now, you'll see that they're at their normal depth. Of course, a base hit. They're going to have to try to throw the runner out at the plate. It's do or die at this point. Most certainly any kind of a base hit to the outfield. Nick Leyva is going to send Bautista.
Here's the throw, and it's well into center field, but Bautista is not going anywhere. Bird was well in from center.
Well, first of all, Bautista goes back in head first. And it takes him a moment to locate the baseball. And, of course, nice job by Marlon Byrd hustling heads up baseball right away to back the play up.
Rios took the time to go back and get a little rosin, get a better grip on that bat. And Wilson steps off. New set of signs coming from Saltalamacchia. Here's the 1-1. Hit on the ground. And that is a foul ball. How close did this come to being fair? Oh, maybe just at the last second.
Well, of course, it's not where it lands when it gets past the bag. If it's deemed to be catch any part of the bag as it's going over the third base bag, it's a fair ball.
New life perhaps for Rios. And there's ball 2.
And the way Alex Rios is swinging the bat tonight, he throws that hard breaking ball. If you're Wilson, you better make sure you get it down and well underneath the hands. If you miss to your location just a little bit, quite possible Alex Rios will hit it hard.
And he rolls it to Kinsler at second. Lots of time to make the play, and he does. 2 men left on base in the 10th. We go to the 11th. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Here's the 11th inning from Rogers Center in Toronto. A 7-7 ball game, extra innings for the Jays and Rangers tonight. Strike one called on Chris Davis. Jason Frazier pitched a 1-2-3 10th. Gets a swing and a miss, 0-2.
And that's the spot where if you're Jason Frazier, you want to stay at the belt and in, or just above the belt. This is perfect location. And you can see Davis, as much as he's trying, can't catch up with that pitch. That was just a little too high.
Yeah, changes the eye line a little bit. As Greg Zahn would call it, an NCP, a non-competitive pitch. So the 1-2 on the way, and it's 2-2 on Davis. You've got Jared Saltalamacchia on deck for the Rangers, and then Ian Kinsler, their leadoff man, will hit in the inning as well. Only the diehards now hanging in for this one at 7-7. The 2-2 pitch swung on and missed, and Frazier gets Davis. Let's go down again to Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, as I had originally suspected, the injury to Willie Ayers, a groin pull. So nothing to do with the arm, which is good news in some respects for Ayers, who was coming off an arm injury earlier this year.
Thank you very much, Sam. Ayers had to leave last inning after getting a 2-1 count on Rod Barajas. C.J. Wilson took his place, gave up a pair of hits, but did not allow a run to come in. And now Saltalamacchia taps that one foul.
And finally, for the first time tonight, I think Frazier was able to throw his split finger fastball for a strike, and clearly had Saltalamacchia well out in front of it. Again, late in the ball game in extra innings, hitters are looking to jump that fastball and drive something very early in the count.
0-2 now. Frazier's one of those relief pitchers who chooses to pitch from the stretch. He made that decision after the 0-2 season, figuring it made absolute sense because, as he said, quote, his most important pitches are going to come from the stretch anyway. So with nobody on, you will not see a windup from Frazier. 0-2 on Saltalamacchia, and he gets jammed, popping this one up. Will it stay in the field of play? Barajas hustles over, and it's just out of his reach.
Good effort by Rod Barajas, but clearly the ball was well into the camera well. And after the last two pitches, Frazier definitely can go to the splitty if he wants to. Probably have him out front. Go back hard with the fastball. And you could see Rod Barajas clearly wanted that pitch up more than where it ended up.
Jason's thrown 22, as you can see, and is well rested. His last outing was Saturday. The 0-2 offering, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody up currently for the Blue Jays in their bullpen. Good swing and a miss. Frazier with some great action on that pitch, and he gets Saltalamacchia.
See some great movement late on the split finger. And well out in front and swinging over the top of it was Saltalamacchia. And Jason Frazier, along with Rod Barajas, since Frazier has entered the game, have done a very good job of mixing it up, keeping these Rangers hitters off balance.
Ian Kinsler now. And this is great to see from Frazier, who, as you know, Rance, last year got his work in non-critical situations most of the time for the Blue Jays.
I think the addition of the third pitch, the split finger fastball, has really complemented his fastball and his slider.
Hit way high in the air for Aaron Hill. And Frazier has retired 6 in a row in relief of B.J. Ryan. Another shot for the Blue Jays when we return. C.J. Wilson takes a little rosin for his left hand and sets to face Vernon Wells here in the bottom of the 11th inning. Tied at 7. And Wilson throws the first pitch to Wells for strike 1. Travis Snyder is on deck for the Blue Jays. He pinch ran for Adam Lind in the 9th. That's chopped off the foot of Wells, and it's 0-2. As you can see, Vernon with 3 career walk-off home runs. 1 against Mariano Rivera, 1 against Scott Proctor, then of the Yankees, 1 against Hector Carrasco of the Kansas City Royals. One ball, 2 strikes. Here's Wilson, and it's 2-2. If you've just tuned in, the Blue Jays took an early 2-0 lead on a Barajas home run in the second that counted 2. Texas came back and scored twice in the third. Barajas gave it right back to the Jays with a 2-run shot in the fourth. They tacked on another. It was 5-2 after 4. But Texas made it a 5-3 game by the 5th inning. And then the Jays added 2 more runs in the 6th inning. But Texas hung around long enough to get to the 9th and scored 3 times on B.J. Ryan to send it to extra innings. Things fell apart in that 9th inning. Ryan ended up hitting the first batter he faced in Chris Davis. He was able to get a double play ball out of Ian Kinsler, but Aaron Hill made a throwing error to first base that kept the inning alive, gave the Texas Rangers an extra out to work with, and boy did they make them pay. Michael Young with 2 out hit a towering fly ball deep into center field for a home run, and his 4th home run of the year, tied it at 7. 2-2 and now 3-2.
Vernon Wells, after falling behind quickly in this at bat, has battled all the way back to 3-2. And it's real easy right here to get a little too amped up and get yourself out. Stay within yourself, stay short and quick, and make them get you out in the strike zone.
Down low, ball 4. And there's a speedster on base for the Blue Jays.
You would think that here in this situation, Cito Gaston may ask Schneider to get a butt down to move Wells into scoring position. And then you would have Rowland and Millar with an opportunity to win the ball game.
Certainly wouldn't be the first time for Schneider. He laid down a sacrifice earlier this year as time is called by Saltalamacchia. You saw Jackets coming off in the Rangers bullpen. Here's Schneider now DHing and getting his first plate appearance of the night. He squares and turns aside, ball 1.
Wells is not a big base stealer, as we know, and you have a left-hander on the mound. So don't take any chances. Let's get Schneider to get a bunt down for us and get Wells into scoring position.
That's dropped and foul. So it's 1-1. Schneider laid down a sacrifice on April 12th, the Sunday, in Cleveland against left-hander Rafael Perez, advancing 2 runners on the play. Wells gets back to the bag.
And you can see the positioning of Michael Young well in, creeping towards the plate.
Good looking bunt there. Wilson goes to first, and Schneider gets the job done.
Very, very nice job by Travis Schneider to deaden the ball out in front of the plate, and the only option for Wilson was first base. Right here you see he really does a nice job to deaden that. No chance to go to second for the force. And now do you walk Scott Rowland to set up a double play situation with Millar on deck? You would think that's what the Rangers will do.
That's exactly what they're doing, as Saltalamacchia calls for the pitch outside, and Wilson turns and gets Wells to trot back to second. And now time called by Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. He wants a word with Wilson. He had to come out onto the field just to get the attention of the umpires. Now they're about to intentionally walk Scott Rowland here. What kind of thing might Maddox be discussing with Wilson?
I'm not sure. The only thing I can surmise is possibly he's telling Wilson that, you know, you're going to walk Rowland intentionally, and we may go to the right-hander out in the bullpen to come in and face Millar.
Let's get a note now from Sam Cosentino. Sam?
Well, Jamie, part of that is to buy time, no doubt. Darren O'Day is getting loose in the bullpen, was claimed off waivers from the Mets today. He actually arrived in the bullpen moments ago, started to shake everyone's hand so as to introduce himself, and here he is in extra innings, may possibly get in this game. Surely Maddox buying him time not only to meet his new mates, but to get loose as well.
And that won't be the last handshake if he comes in. He's going to have to shake Saltalamakia's hand too and introduce himself if that's the case. O'Day spent last year with the Los Angeles Angels after he was selected in the Rule 5 draft. So wouldn't that be something? Who knows what time his plane touched down in Toronto today, but he probably didn't think he'd end up coming to the ballpark and getting into a game. So Rolen is walked intentionally. And Kevin Millar will be the hitter for the Blue Jays. And now Ron Washington is coming out to the mound. And he makes the call. So quite a development here. And yet another pitching change. It is brought to you by Rogers High-Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. You have never seen before, and here is a fine example. Do you wish to know why they're smiling? The Texas Rangers infield? That's because Darren O'Day has come into the game, the newest member of the Texas Rangers, so new they don't even have a jersey for him. So he's wearing Kason Gabbard's number 30. Rance, I have never seen this before. That is not Kason Gabbard, that is Darren O'Day.
It's a first for me as well.
Welcome to the Texas Rangers. Even though you initially misidentified yourself. Boy, he had me crossed up coming out of the bullpen. Here's the situation. First and second, one away, bottom of the 11th inning. O'Day facing Kevin Millar. Whatever his name is, throws strike one. Just acquired from the New York Mets. He got 4 relief appearances with the Mets this year. And this ball is yanked to left field and well out of play. So 2 strikes on Millar. Facing a Texas Rangers pitcher who hasn't been with the organization 24 hours. That's way outside, and Saltalamacchia does a nice job of getting out there.
Even though he's kind of a submariner, throws from well down under. You know, Kevin Millar and both Rod Barajas in particular, pretty good low ball hitters.
There's Barajas watching from the on-deck circle as Kevin Millar deals with a 1 and 2.
And you really try to make him get the ball up a little bit and stay back. Don't try to pull the ball too much.
The 1-2 pitch, way up high, 2 and 2.
Most pitchers that throw from well down under are not overpowering. They rely on location, movement, change speeds.
And this ball is laced to left field, well over the head of Murphy, and this ball game is officially over.
And a great piece